Hello, YouTube. It is fucking freezing. And I don't know if it just feels colder because it was getting a little warmer and now it's super cold, or if it's really that cold. I don't even want to look at the temperature, but it feels freaking cold. Pretty sure it was like minus 18, they were saying last night. I didn't look. But the frost on the van windows was thick this morning. I didn't want to get out of my nice cozy bed. Walking for God. Sorry, I'm looking that way. There's people driving around me. This has been a very interesting year. Year's not quite up yet that I've been homeless or whatever. I still don't know what to do. I'm very confused. Not really. I'm not confused. I know that I'm going to do whatever God has decided for me. But it's confusing to figure out what that is. So, I'm going to try to do the society thing again. Blend right back in with all you crazy people. Now, I say that, but I won't blend in that well. But, I'll blend in as far as having a home, a job, and stress, and all that stuff. I think. See how the next 3 months plays out. But, pretty sure. Now, my other option is to try to go a 4th month. But that month is going to be fucking hot. Deadly hot. Depending on what my job is, though, I should be able to do it. If I'm working at that hotel inside, nice and fucking warm and everything, I'm worried about they probably won't hire me because I'm not vaxxed. Not sure. But probably not. Which is going to be my problem with a lot of things. Different jobs and things. Who knows? Even that cooking job might not. Like, that could come up. Maybe. I don't know, because we're kind of dropping that whole narrative as well. And it's coming out like it didn't really. It's not going to stop COVID from spreading through the population. And we've got to just learn to live with it. And the only thing that the vax would do would be to protect you from the virus. It's not going to protect anybody else. And so it's my choice to take the risk of getting sicker than somebody else, or less sick, right? Who knows? Nobody knows. Well, presumably the vax makers and stuff, they would know a lot more, right? Like we've only gotten the first 10,000 pages so far of the redacted information on the vaccine efficiencies. So we're about to get 10,000 more here in the next few days, which they wanted. That's the stuff they wanted 75 years for. And they have to release it all over the next, whatever it is, year. So many pages a month, which is why I think the narrative's going away from the vaccine at this point, because if they were to cover that news, it would reveal too much of their hand or whatever. So they're moving on to the war. The point of the video, though, is that my faith walk might be at an end. See, I called it my Abraham walk when I first started it, and that was like 2 years ago in November. That's when I started to prepare for, and then it was a year ago in April, I believe, that I actually, no, it might have been May, I gave up my apartment. And walked. Now, I've tentatively worked since then, obviously, keep myself alive and whatnot. I had unemployment for a little while. That wore out. So, what Abraham did was he gave up everything, most of his possession, lands and this and that, agreed with God, had faith that in what the message from God was, moved to the promised land, his new land that was given to him. And then there was other trials to test his faith or whatnot, but he was set up and established and was able to love from there. He set up his tent and he had a door on all four sides so that you could always enter. Everybody going by could come in and he would wash your feet or whatever, which nowadays we don't see that as a, you know, or the gesture, obviously, right? But I mean, we're spoiled, I guess, so we don't see getting your feet washed as such a amazing thing. But if you think about it, if you were out for even 4 days or 5 days walking and wandering and going through the woods and, you know, on horseback, even camel, whatever, having something to soak your feet in would be heaven. It is after a day's work, just a day, when you come home, right? And if you get to put your feet in a big tub and just soak away. We do it to our whole bodies now because we're spoiled, right? People will get in the bathtub and relax and let life soak away. Anyway. I'm not Abraham. I don't have what Abraham had. He gave away, but he also, like me, kept the necessities. Like, he brought his tents, he brought his servants, and he brought his gold. He gave away the lands, and he walked away from property and status and everything else. So he had a not easier time setting up than me, but he had it very different than I. I'm far less, especially. He had servants and his wives and stuff, and I don't think he had kids. Oh, he might have. He had his, yes, he did. He had it. But it wasn't with his wife. It was with his chambermaid or whatever, however that worked. The wife was barren up to a certain age or whatever. So she said that Abraham needed to have a seed or whatever to fulfill for God, and since she couldn't provide it, that he got go get she give him her handservant, her maidservant, and then the maidservant got pregnant, and she gets the kid from her or whatever. But then the maidservant was a bitch about it, so that, and then Isaac was born. But in the promised land through Rachel, I think it was Rachel, and so and Abraham was old, and so was she, and to keep the people from talking about them, God made them young again, gave them back youthful look or whatever it was. It was another miracle that was performed for them, so that they wouldn't be spoken of. And then, pretty sure, so that no one could say that it wasn't Abraham's, Isaac was identical to Abraham. There was no arguing about it. And then when Isaac was sacrificed, or about to be, Abraham told him, and Isaac was happy about it, because his older brother, half-brother, always held something over his head, because he had sacrificed, and for God and for Abraham and for the family in some way. I can't remember exactly. And I think it was that he was the older brother, and the younger brother was going to get the inheritance, and he had given over the inheritance, and by giving that sacrifice over for God and for his father, he had favor in the eyes of God. And he'd always rub that in Isaac's face. So when Abraham told Isaac that he could, that he was going to go and sacrifice Isaac to God, Isaac was happy to go because he wanted to sacrifice for God. He wanted to do a greater sacrifice than his brother. And so basically, Cain and Abel story, just a little bit different. And then he worried for his mother and talked about how after he was sacrificed, Abraham was to keep his ashes and put them in an urn and bring them back to his mother so that she could have him, a piece of him, have his ashes or whatever with her forever, which was kind of cool. And then he went willingly. Everybody talks down about it. Not everybody, I guess. People talk down about it because they think that Abraham was just going to murder his son or whatever. They say, oh yeah, he's the father of your faith. He was going to kill his own son. Well, no, he wasn't. His son was going to give himself as a willing sacrifice for the grace of God. So, just a greater story than what you're told, I guess. I'm totally lost. Oh, so I'm not gonna sacrifice my son, though. If God told me to, I would leave. And I would move on and I would keep going. I would travel to wherever and leave him behind again. And it would break my heart. But it would only be for a greater good if God was to ask me to do it. So I would willingly do that. It's almost making me cry. But I don't think that's a, I hope, like I said, I'm just going to try to do something to set up here now. My other thought is, in the next few months, if I can do it, and I should, there's no reason I can't, finish a couple things on this van, tweak up a couple things, maybe get somebody to tune her up a bit. Not that she's that bad, it just, whatever. Like, everything can use a tune-up and an oil change and stuff like that. And then buy a bigger unit of some sort. I was thinking one of the short school buses. Sell this, move into the bus, redo it, and I have a better design in my head for that, but it would give me a indoor shower, bathroom, and I'd frame walls inside of it and insulate so that so she'd stay warm, and then just have a curtain across at the driver's seat so that, and get like a blackout curtain that's heavy, thick, so it would make somewhat of a wall when you were parked, enough that whatever, and paint the windows or tint the windows all like black, and because 80% of them would have walls framed in front of them and be insulated and vapor barriered and buried and gone. A couple I would frame too, leave them so they operate or whatever. Whatever. I'd figure that out. And then just hang curtains on them and stuff. And it would be more like a home, and insulate the ceiling and put click flooring in so that it's you get that layer of foam insulation down, and then you put your flooring down, and it'd give you, you know, quarter inch there of warmer floors. And I think I'd be able to do the winter in it, plus get a propane furnace with the proper ventilation going out the side or whatever for out of a camper trailer, and I like it out of an RV, so that it's not a dirty fume or fucker like this one that I got here. A little cleaner and built right in, and forced air, so it work a little better. And like I got two of these, so in the winter I get a big one, and in the summer I gotta put the little one in, or the spring and fall I put this little one in, and the big one's a fucking dirty, burning, gross, fumey thing. Oh. This one's pretty dirty and gross too, or whatever, but it's not like that one. Well, it is. It's exactly like that one. It's just way smaller, so you don't get the fucking black ceilings and shit. Anyhow, that's that plan. My other plan, which I don't know quite yet. I gotta talk to the big guy about it and look into my own soul about it, because I'll have to be strong. And I don't know, whatever. There's a lot to it. But essentially, it's renting office space and going to work growing indoor grow show, but a real full scale take 10 grand or whatever and invest it, and grab, I think I could get a couple investors, and just go to work. But is pot a sin? Yes, it's gotta be, it has to be. But here on earth, life kicks you a lot, and it's nice to have a little release. But is it a release, or is it something that's got a hold of you? It's got a hold of me, and that's where I don't think I gotta really look into myself and wonder if I go into that, it's always gonna have a hold on me, or it's always going to have a hold on me. I got to talk to plain English here to myself about this, because I'm an addict. When it comes to pot, I don't know. I know it sounds stupid. Oh, just pot, just quit. And I have. But if I smoke one, I'm right back to smoking it every day. And it doesn't destroy my life. It's not destroying relationships. It's not hurting anybody else. It's definitely bad on my lungs. And if I'm not growing it, it can be hard on my finances. which does in turn hurt people, right? In my life, because if I'm poor and broke, having to borrow money or having to not be able to do things because I'm need to prioritize that, right? It's like cigarettes or anything else. But then life is fucking short and it's hard and it's nice to have some little release. And like I said, it's not really hurting and you got all these other excuses. But anyway, and Jesus should be enough. God should be Yeshua, HaMashiach, should be all that we need in this life, obviously. But like I said, not only is we have all these things to deal with, but I don't know about you, but I was raised in my last video, it's probably uploading, that's what it was about, how we're raised and how it would be cool if we were all raised biblical right from the start, and how much different we would all be, and how things like that wouldn't be a problem. Nothing would. All kinds of problems would disappear. I'm at my half hour, so I'm going to let you go before I have to let you go. I actually seen it this time, which is cool, because I keep getting videos cut off, and I don't say sayonara. Sayonara! Have a great day.